Battle! Confirmed! Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Pass us up! Macho-ness, hopeless, darkness, battle! Kamen Rider Revice!
Hello YouTube, this is Shirley426, and today we have a review of the P-Bandai exclusive, or P-Bandai exclusive, SHF Kamen Rider Evil, or the way how they pronounce it in Japanese, Evil. So once again, this figure did arrive last week, and I absolutely love it. Basically, it kind of exceeded my expectations. So I was basically expecting, a pretty basic SHF figure, but this definitely had some really cool aspects and cool improvements compared to some past figures. So which is why I absolutely love it, and this pretty much guarantees me on getting the upcoming or future releasing the SHF Kamen Rider Live, because they actually did announce the fact that they are working on SHF Kamen Rider Live, and I definitely need to get that. Alright, so let me get it off the rotating stand and let's see what we got. So just to be clear, this, for those who don't know the Kamen Rider series, this guy is from the latest Kamen Rider Revice series. Now this character, to be more specific, the human body form of this guy is still out there, but basically this guy, the whole concept of Kamen Rider Revice is that there's humans, and then humans have their inner demons and such. In this case, these inner demons usually takes a form in terms of a monster or something else, but this guy in this case takes form as a human, but like a evil version of the human guy. So when the evil guy, the evil version of the human is actually taking control, he transforms into this, and then when the regular actual owner of the body takes in control, he turns into a different Kamen Rider. So yeah, that's just the basic gist of it, but if you actually see the series, it will make much more sense. But spoiler alert, this guy is no longer with us in the series, because for us a specific reason, but still you get my idea. Alright, so let's see what we got. So first of all, what you get, of course, obviously the figure itself. Definitely loving the design here. I was really worried how they were going to pull off these these paint smudge looks on the design here, but they did a really clean job, so well done. And then let's see, the hand wise, right off the box, you should be getting the fist hands as well, and then I believe yeah, the belt should also have the Vice stamp right over here as well, so no need to worry about that. And these are one of those cases where the belt, or the part of the belt, becomes a weapon, so just wanted to point that out. And other than that, I do love the overall color combination of the silver, black, and green, especially the metallic green and silver, so definitely looking good. Alright, so we've seen the basics of the stuff, so let's see what we get in terms of the components, other than the figure itself. And also, I would like to mention that I have my fan on, because it is really hot these days, so I have my fan on the back side, so which hopefully it doesn't affect the mic, so yeah. Alright, so let's get rid of the unnecessary ones. So first of all, this hammer. So what they're doing, especially really aggressively in terms of Kamen Rider Revice, is that for the figures, they're really like, they're really putting the weapons in all figures as well. So this weapon is not really meant for this rider. It's actually meant for the main rider himself. But once again, so this just gives you more motivation to get the other figures as well. But for me, I'm gonna pass it on. But so this is the Oin hammer, I believe. I forgot the exact name, but this is a hammer type weapon. It definitely has some interesting functions in the series, but it wasn't used as many times as you think. So. But there's this axe gun that is included in Kamen Rider SHF Kamen Rider Revice, I believe. You can actually combine it with this to make some sort of sword type weapon. But once again, I do not own that, so that's that. Now it may look like you could technically hold this with this hand, but apparently this handle is actually way too large and fatter, so it doesn't really fit properly. So yeah, maybe Kamen Rider Vice actually has a different size of a hand. So yeah, just wanted to point that out. Alright, so that was the most unnecessary part for this, and here we get a bonus part. I believe this was a bonus part. So here we have the pterodactyl Vice stamp. I believe the rider himself doesn't actually use this, but each rider does come with an extra Vice stamp like a bonus. So yeah, maybe this is one of those cases as well. But they finally made some improvements for these to be actually attached to the figure, so I'll show you guys about that later. And this one is actually supposed to be included. This is the Jackal Vice stamp. So if Kamen Rider Evil actually uses this, he actually has a different form, which is why we get these parts, the head the head part and then the chest part. So I was expecting to get a whole new separate head, but yeah, they actually gave you only the cover, so that's actually pretty good. So they're kind of getting references from the old Gates Revive figure. So yeah, but they do work slightly differently. So I'll show you guys about that later. So we'll put that away. And here, let's look at the hands. So other than the fist hands, you get the multi-purpose hands, which is meant for holding the weapons. Nothing too special there. We get the semi-open hands. These are pretty much included in all of SHF figures out there as well. And then we get a fully open hand. These are slightly uncommon, but there are certain figures that do come with this, so that's that. And then we get some very specific hands for a certain pose and for this rider. So yeah, so that's that. And then we get this. So we actually get some extension parts. Well, we actually get the blade part. So this rider actually uses, this is his main weapon, the blade section of the belt. So if you buy the toy, the way how it works is that this is actually folded up. So when he transforms, it folds out and makes it into a longer blade. So just wanted to point that out. All right, so we've seen the basics of that. Oh, sorry about that. My mic actually just hit something. Yeah, let's look at the articulation right away. So let's see what we got. So for the head, definitely clean looking head here. I was really wondering how they were going to pull this off. So really turned out okay. And as I mentioned before, if you're wondering, you actually need to pull this part out to actually do the face plate swap. So just wanted to point that out. So the head can go down that much, up not so much because of the overall neck collar right over here. So it is blocking the way, but going side to side is also possible, but not 360. It could be the fact that the neck is also moving together with the head, but yeah. Once again, technically a human body inside there, so 360 on the neck shouldn't be possible for even real humans. We're not owls. All right, so let's look at the arms as well. So the arms, like once again, it is on the ideal situation where the shoulder armors are actually attached to the arm rather than the main body. So as I mentioned before, if it's connected to the main body, it's going to limit the arm articulation a lot. So I wanted to point that out. All right, so the shoulder part also moves on its own. You can move the arm about outward 90 degrees, and then arm itself can go 360 fully with no problem as well. And then you do get a 360 twist on the lower arm itself, and then bending wise you only get about 90 degrees for some reason, but still it's enough for most poses as well. And this may feel a little bit awkward to some people, but there is this middle part here that is a bit jiggly, but that is supposed to be it. That is how it's supposed to be. It's more of a design thing, or so yeah, no need to worry about it. Okay, let me just put that back in. And I want to point out that the paint smudges are slightly different. The locations and designs are different on each side, and looking at the bag, you get the better idea how it works. So yeah. All right, and then here we have the chest plate. There is actually a small nub here, so you can pull out the chest piece to replace it. So that's that. And then the main body, you do get a nice ab crunch going on here, side to side is also possible. Now 360, I'm not going to try because it's not meant to do that as well. But you do go to side a bit. So yeah, so basic human articulation should be possible. Now here we have the belt. So at first I was wondering how the hell am I supposed to pull out the belt, because it was stuck in there like very firmly. But turns out it's just you pull out the peg. So it's a double peg system right over here. So which is why it has a very firm connection. And looking at the belt here we have the belt. So this is the basic form of the belt for Kamen Rider Evil, but this is pretty much a guarantee that we will be getting Kamen Rider Live. So if you want to go to the other Kamen Rider Live form, which is all white and such, this is how the belt should be. So for Kamen Rider Live, for those who don't know, just want to point out, it's a white rider, basically the opposite of this guy. He uses a gun, so yeah. So you get the idea. So in this form, it's a gun, and the other way around is a blade type weapon. So this is the folded up version. So I want to point that out. Here we have the handle here. At first, it may feel extremely awkward holding the handle, but you get used to it. And here we have the vice stamp. You can actually pull it out, and this is the way how they work. So you can see there's a square peg there, and then here we have a small space for the square to fit in perfectly. And there you go. You have the stamp connected. So let's take off So I'm going to take off the weapon out there for now. Yeah, very simple looking belt, but they did get all the details correctly. And then the reason why I said they actually made possible for these to be attached to the rider is that, so on the belt holsters, it's the same system that's on the belt, so which means you can actually slap these on there. So since I never actually got SHF Kamen Rider Revice, the figures, I didn't actually know this, but so yeah, I'm really happy about these. So for those who don't know why I'm freaking out, is that back then the other figures like Kamen Rider Build, Kamen Rider Exade or like Kamen Rider Saber, they all had these holsters, but they were all useless. For number one, they didn't give you closed up books. For number two, the holster was just there for show. There was no way to actually attach the devices there. So I'm really happy about this. So yeah, you can actually carry, since you have two, you can carry actually both extra vice stamps going on there. Now looking at the legs here, very nice color details. So you do give a side swivel going on there, and then going to the back, not so much because of the way how the shape is here. And then going forward about 90 degrees is also possible, and then going to the side 90 degrees is almost possible as well. So I wouldn't say exactly 90 degrees, but you get the idea. Now bend wise, we get a nice bend going on here about 90 degrees. I think it's just because of the overall design. You could I think it could go technically more if there weren't any parts that colliding with each other. Unlike the arms, there's no wiggly parts right over here, and then the feet you can go 360 for some reason, and then you get a nice toe bend. Oops, oh, there we go. You get a nice toe bend, and then you get a nice pivot joint, and then the feet itself can go forward and backward like that. Alright, so we've seen the basics of the figure, so I'll be right back with the demonstration of the weapon, because there are some preparations I need to do, like swapping out hands and such. So I'll be, that was close, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So here we have the first example of using the weapon and such. So once again, I was able to also attach the other revised vice stamps onto the belt holster and no problem. They're not loose by any means. I can shake them and they're going to stay in place. So that is a huge improvement from the past stuff. And once again, holding the weapon, it's pretty simple, but once again, at first, because of the overall handle location and design, it may feel extremely awkward compared to like other past weapons where like a typical gun or a sword or an axe, it's pretty straightforward, but this one may feel a little bit, awkward, but it works as well. And the other hand also works as well. So according to the manual, if you open the manual, there might be something that could like give you the wrong idea. So on the manual, obviously I mentioned about this hammer. This hammer is meant for a different figure, and then there's this hand right over here where it makes it look like I can hold the vice stamps. This is also one of the complaints I had in the past, where I would wish they would give out or make hands that were very specific to hold these special devices, like full bottles or like vice stamps or Wonder Right books. I always wanted to have these dedicated hands, but it seems like there is one. However, this one is actually according to the manual and then according to translation, this one is in a different figure. So yeah, sadly, there's no way to actually properly hold this as well for this figure. But still, it works very well, and yeah, I have zero complaints about any of the whole situation of the figure, other than no dedicated hand for holding the bottle. Alright, so there's only one thing left to show, that is the Jackal form, which the rider actually transforms using the Jackal bottle as well. So I'll be right back with that form. It's very simple. All you need to do is swap out the faceplate and then the chest plate, and you're good to go. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So here we have the Jackal form. So in Jackal form, basically he gets like super speed. He becomes very fast. But in the series, when he actually transforms into this form, he does hold his weapon in a very awkward stance. But I think this is a little bit more awkward because it's a figure, because in the series he actually does a much more natural pose. So the figure is kind of limited because of its articulation, and then but still you can pull out a few poses as well. So he does hold his weapon on his other hand, and he does hold it upside down, but still he basically moves around fast and doesn't. So but I'm still really surprised that they actually put it in this gimmick as well. I wasn't really expecting this. But once again, they did also reveal that for live as well, he will still retain the Jackal form, but of course obviously in different colors. So yeah, definitely looking forward for that. And yeah, no changes here. I swap out the vice stamp with the Jackal here, right over here, and then other side is still here, and here is that very specific claw type hand pose going on here. And that is pretty much it for the review. So once again, if you're a big fan of the series, or if you just really like this character, you actually like this character compared to his original human form, because this guy actually does get stuff done. Of course, this guy is a very odd rider, because I wasn't sure like whose side he was on, but he eventually comes to a term. Of course, we don't really see him anymore, but still, the figure definitely exceeded my expectations, and I highly recommend this. This could also be a very nice figure for any beginners at the same time. Anyway, thank you for watching the review. This was the review of the P-Bandai exclusive, or P-Bandai exclusive SHF Kamen Rider Evil. If you guys got any questions or requests, leave them comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out. So please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time.